Now, just before we do move on, we have some more breaking news for you. Government sources say extra police officers will be deployed across the rail network following that knife attack near Huntingdon. They say a surge in police presence will take place until at least Tuesday, likely to be focused on major terminals such as London, Birmingham, York, Leeds and Manchester, as well as, of course, at Huntingdon. The police officers are likely to be most visible in London and at Huntingdon, but will be deployed across as much of the rail network as possible. There will also be a visible police presence on trains on the East Coast mainline, with sources saying officers usually focus on stations, but it was important to reassure passengers. We'll bring you more as we have it. I'm Dawn Newsom. This is GB News. Please do stay with us, though. We'll bring you all the updates as two people still in hospital fighting for their lives after that mass stabbing on a train in Cambridgeshire. Now, two British nationals have been arrested in connection with a mass stabbing on board a train that was travelling from Doncaster to London. The British Transport Police have said they are not treating it as a terrorist incident, and now government sources say extra police officers will be deployed across the rail network following the knife attack near Huntingdon. They say a surge in police presence will take place until at least Tuesday, likely to be focused on major terminals such as London, Birmingham, York, Leeds and Manchester, as well, of course, at Huntingdon. Joining me now is a travel correspondent, one of my favourites, to be fair, for The Independent, Simon Calder. Simon, thank you very much for joining us today. OK, now you have been at some of the main train stations today. What's the reaction? What's happening out there? What are people saying? OK, yeah, I spent several hours this morning at London King's Cross, which was where that 6:25 from Doncaster last night was supposed to be ending up. I've actually spoken to people who were travelling in trains on the opposite direction, trying to get to Yorkshire, and they were basically saying, yeah, we got almost to Huntingdon, at which point they said we can't go any further. They did praise the professionalism of the crew. Eventually everybody was brought back to London and they were told, just get a hotel, we'll pay for it. A number of people apprehensive about travelling, and bear in mind this is the end of the half-term week. There's loads of people wanting to go all sorts of places, and this is exactly what the tragic, terrible news you don't want to be waking up to. But actually, there is a higher proportion of police officers around. I even saw Met Police people actually on the tube patrolling. Normally it would be British Transport Police. Bear in mind, though, I think you mentioned it's happening till Tuesday, yes. Well, guess what? There's fewer than 3,000 British Transport Police officers, and there's 5 million passenger journeys a day. You told me that statistic during the break. Just repeat that again. So 5 million passenger journeys a day on the rail network, and fewer than 3,000 British Transport Police. In comparison. Well, and the thinking is that with other security measures in force, in particular, of course, CCTV everywhere, and security staff, so station response officers in large numbers around the stations I visited today. And the idea is that, if there is any strange behaviour, that should be detected. But clearly, whatever these the suspects had in mind was just off the scale. I've not reported on anything like this before, and I would like very much to pay tribute to the professionalism of the rail staff, the train driver, the control room staff, network rail signallers, who managed in the course of 14 minutes while all this was unfolding to get the train diverted. Normally it would have gone through a fast track with no platform at Huntingdon at 125 miles an hour. They got it to somewhere which fortunately was very close to the headquarters of the police, where everybody could leave the train and where the police could do what they need to do. But awful circumstances. We're not, I don't think, going to see knife arches and searches at stations. It would be almost impossible, wouldn't it? Yeah. Simon, we will be hearing more from you in the next hour. Thank you so much for now, though. That is an independent correspondent for The Independent, Simon Calder there. OK, now talking of the victims of this, joining me now is anti-knife crime campaigner Alison Cope. Her son, Joshua Ribera, was stabbed to death in 2013. Alison, thank you so much for joining us. Alison, we don't know very much about the motivation involved in this, but we do know that once again, thankfully no one has lost their lives yet, but we do know that knives were used to inflict injuries. 2 people are still critically ill in hospital. What do you make of this story?
I just think it's horrific. And again, thoughts are with the victims. This incident will change many lives forever. For me, I think once we establish the motive and the cause behind it, regardless of what that is, then for me, we need to start really investigating when these things happen, so we can put things in place to prevent the next thing happening. I was actually working in that area 2 weeks ago, and knife crime is an issue. It's not, I know a lot of people are shocked, but when I delivered in the schools, knife crime was a huge issue and a huge concern, and people just don't know how to address it. So I think it's very important we really investigate the why behind it, and then we can have a look to make sure we do enough to prevent the next one, because we've spoke before, we'll probably speak again. It will be a case of when there's another one, not if there's going to be another one. And we're seeing random attacks become more frequent, and innocent lives change forever. So for me, again, let's just take a step back and really investigate the why behind this, so that we're not repeatedly talking about it.
Alison, when you said you were working in the area recently, visiting schools in the area, are you talking about Huntingdon, where the train finally stopped, or Peterborough, where we believe the alleged attack has gone on?
Yeah, Peterborough, I've done a number of schools, and the college. I've also worked in a school in Huntingdon, and when I spoke to the students in that period, I think I spoke to about 3,000 young people. They genuinely believed when they walk around the streets of Peterborough, Huntingdon, that region, 60-70% of others are carrying weapons, which is not accurate.
Wow.
So the fear element is a huge concern. And whether it is or it isn't terrorism, it is terrifying. And, you know, what are we going to do about all the people that are living in that area, the people that are commuting? How are we going to make them feel safer? And the police are doing an amazing job, and I just hope that's consistent, not just the next 3 days, 5 days. Section 60, higher presence. It needs to be long-term reassurance.
Alison, we have spoke before about this subject, obviously, and you speak very movingly about what happened to your own son, Joshua.
Yeah.
I mean, so there are families going through this now. I mean, people, just travelling down for maybe a night out in London on a Friday night. What can be done? I mean, knife arches before we get onto trains, knife arches before we go into schools. What is the answer to this never-ending question about knife crime?
It's mindset. We put knife arches in schools. Children will leave knives outside schools, like we have seen. People, if they want to hurt someone, will find a way of hurting someone. We need a huge investment to stop these happening, but we aren't seeing that. We're seeing pots of funding, a little bit of work done that's amazing, but it's not a nationwide approach. And we've said it before, we'll say it again, but people being stabbed, traumatised, killed, injured. We're in a position now where we've got major problems with mental health issues, we've got major problems with poverty. All the factors that are fueling this are still in a mess, and there's no excuse for this kind of behaviour. But if we actually made things better on the ground, so many victims are going to be saved in the future, and those poor victims and their families, their lives will never, ever be the same again, nor the police, nor the track. And then it's suddenly a massive, massive ripple effect. So we just need to make sure we do more to prevent the next one.
Indeed. Alison, thank you so much, as always, for talking to us. That's anti-knife crime campaigner Alison Cope, thank you very much, who lost her son Joshua, stabbed to death in 2013. Alison, thank you very much.